Ladies and gentlemen, this evening's performance of
The Diz Explorers
will begin in 2 minutes. Excellent
listening
locations are still available all around Showcase Promenade. Due to the use of
alcohol and opinions.
around the lagoon, for your safety, we request that you remain on the promenade side of all railings. During the show, please watch your step and take small children firmly by the hand. Once again, this evening's performance of
The Diz Explorers
will begin in just 2 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Diz Explorers podcast, where each week we explore the many avenues of the great Disney universe. This week, I've got Jessica and Milford along with me here, and we're going to chat about, I think I say it every week, another fun topic, but this one's very interesting because we came up with an idea to think about which, not cast member related. So if you were able to be a cast member, which jobs would you think would be the most fun to have to do on a daily basis, and which ones would you think would be not the funnest, or the most miserable, as Jessica put it? So that. And the answers, it really, thinking about it, is it may not necessarily be ones you think, like, one of us would like to do. I guess we can do both sides of it. Like, which ones do you think are the most fun and the most miserable? And then I guess which ones do we personally think would be most fun for, because everybody has their different idea of fun and what, they think would be mundane and not. So I think going both directions probably would be cool. All right, so since I know she's prepared, Jessica's gonna go first.
Sure.
Good with me.
So should I start with best or worst?
Either one. Either one.
Okay, I'll start with the best, I guess. Then, so the first one I thought of, because I was in the park this past weekend, was maybe the performer kind of roles, as in like parades or shows, or the bands that kind of walk around the park. Because I was watching the Pearly Band in Fantasyland, and they just look like they're having the best time, and they kind of get to walk around and go from place to place. The Pearly Band in Fantasyland goes on the carousel and plays on the carousel, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And then the Pirate Band in New Orleans Square sometimes performs in front of Pirates of the Caribbean. So I just think having that kind of a role where you still get to kind of see the excitement with guests, but not necessarily have to deal with kind of rude people or difficult people one-on-one would be really fun.
Right.
And then there's just something really cool about being in a parade too. I feel like everyone gets so excited, and I just think that would be a really fun job. And then kind of similar vein, I also think being a PhotoPass photographer would be really fun, because you can kind of take goofy pictures and you can see families that are all really excited and having this cool experience together. And some of the photo locations in the park are just so pretty that it's kind of a nice area to be in during the day. So I think that would be probably a rewarding job. I also thought it would be fun to be a tour guide, and probably not one of the plaid ones that deals with like one particular group, because I think some of them can be kind of high maintenance. But I was thinking more of the guided tours.
Yes.
I just think the people that sign up for those are really passionate about Disney, and they're excited to learn more. And I just think it would be really fun to get to talk history and have those kind of conversations with people that are really enthusiastic and genuinely interested. I did the Walk and Waltz Footsteps tour last year, and our tour guide clearly does this a million times a day, every day. And either she's a really good actress, or she still gets very excited talking about some of the stuff, because she just had this huge smile on her face. And when people would ask her a question about the stuff that we were passing, she always had some kind of anecdote or backstory. And it just seemed like she had a really fun time sharing it with us. So I think if you're someone that's really passionate about, especially Disney history, it seems like those tours really focus on. That would be a job that I think would be pretty fun.
Yeah, I don't think, because we did the Magic Kingdom tour, my wife and I, which is very similar to the Walk in Walt's footsteps last year as well, or the year before. And I honestly don't think you can be any sort of an actress to do that, because number one, the wealth of stuff you have to learn before you're even allowed to give a tour on your own, everything, because she explained the process to us afterwards, and it's pretty grueling. And you have to try out, and there's like an audition, and they kind of want you to go off script. Like, you need to know the information, but they don't want you to just seem like you're reading and have memorized. You have to put like your personality behind it. So they don't just hire people who can memorize stuff, which is awesome. Yeah, because the girl we had was phenomenal. I mean, same thing. Like, if you had questions, or, you know, even if you knew stuff that she was kind of saying, she just always had more information to give. And the way that, you know, she gave it to us was just, it's not just like pointing facts out everywhere. It's like It's like anything else Disney does. It was like there was a story, and there was a way that obviously the company wants these tours to be done, and the way they want to be presented, and just I recommend it to anybody. I mean, they're really not, for what you get. I think the price is very, very worth it.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, I'm a person, obviously, that likes to learn a lot about the parks, and I still learn tons of new stuff on that tour. So I can't even imagine how much knowledge that our tour guide had that she didn't get to share even.
Right.
It must be extraordinary.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's the stuff they didn't get the chance to tell us?
I know. Got to do it again. Ask different questions.
If they had a 10-hour tour, I would do it.
Oh my God. And then I was trying to think of attractions that I thought would be the most fun to be a cast member on. And the first one that came to mind was the Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
Just because you get to kind of be in character, and the outfits are so famous. And I just think that one would be really fun, because you can be kind of creepy and morbid. And the Tower of Terror was like that too, you know, RIP for Disneyland. But
yeah.
I don't know. Can you think of any other attractions because I was having a hard time with that one, because I kept thinking of more weather related stuff, like, oh, but it'd be so hot to be standing there. So it was hard for me to think of a lot of rides that I think would be fun to operate.
I was trying to think along that lines too, and Haunted Mansion was the first one that came to mind too, because there is a certain way you have to be. Obviously, you have to stay emotionless and stone face, and yeah, you do get to creep people out and stuff. Definitely. You know, in that first room and the stretching room before you load on the ride, and even as you exit and stuff. That's probably. I think that one would be a lot of fun to do, because you can get away with some other stuff. And Tower of Terror as well. I do remember when I did ride that one. The bellhop guys do kind of mess with you as you're getting on the elevator. They definitely stay in character and keep up the. I don't know if the scare factor is the word. Maybe the creepy factor, I guess it is, or the, you know, Twilight Zone weird factor. It's hard though, because I have written down too, as far as for like not fun ones. I think pretty much most of the other attractions where it's just load and unload cast members. I mean, there's not much going on. Like, there's no script for them. They just make sure everybody's getting on and off safely. You know, they're all friendly, and they all wave to you, but like, I'm trying to think of like even pirates, like most of them don't chat with you or, you know, say anything. They're just getting people on and off and making sure everybody's sitting in the row and nobody's tripping and falling. I mean, I don't know if a lot of that has to do now that, at least in Walt Disney World, a lot of cast members in those roles are college program kids, so they're, you know, only there for whatever their semester is, unless they choose to stay around or do it a second time. I don't know how many full-time employees, full-time cast members are in those roles, unless you see, like, you know, middle-aged people or senior citizens, retired folks that go for those roles. So they may have a little more fun with it if it's something they've been doing for years. As for me, I think I'm with you, Jessica, with the live performers. I mean, I can't really call myself a musician. I don't play actively anywhere, but I do play the drums. And so for me, an awesome role to have would be in any one of those bands. We don't have as many in Walt Disney World, but Epcot has what's called the Jammers, which is 3 guys who come out and drum on garbage cans and all sorts of other non-traditional percussion instruments. And during the festivals such as Food and Wine and Flower and Garden, now they have different setups and they have a little shtick they do pertaining to each festival, and those are always awesome. My wife makes fun of me because after their sets that I like to watch multiple of them, I will go and shake all their hands and talk to them and stuff like that. So, or even in the Main Street,
that's cool.
Even in the Main Street band, that plays out on Main Street and in different parts of the park, that would be awesome to play in like a real marching band, because I did do that in middle school. Did play in the marching band and march in some local parades here, which was a lot of fun, and I did enjoy that. So that would be I think the live performer stuff, I would be maybe not the speaking roles, because I don't have a great memory for stuff like that, so I couldn't be like Citizens of Hollywood or the comedy performers, but that would be a lot of fun, but it wouldn't be something that I don't think I'd be able to do. And even I joked about it for years, and even now with my family about when we all retire, we want to go all work at Disney World. My uncle has always said, he's like, even if I'm just a janitor, it doesn't matter, at least I'm there. And I used to think the same thing. It didn't matter to me either, but now some of the janitorial crew have just as much fun as everybody else, because at least in Disney World they come out early in the morning and stuff, and they do these water designs with their brush and make characters' faces and stuff on Main Street.
Oh, those are amazing.
Those are pretty flippin' cool. I mean, that's, so, I think that could be fun. I mean, obviously it's not the most glamorous job picking up garbage and emptying garbage cans, but hey, somebody's got to do it, and it's all how you approach it, like anything else, I guess. You could certainly talk to guests, and they have to be just as knowledgeable too, in case somebody has to ask them a question, I would imagine. They need to know where to point you if you're, out there lost trying to get somewhere.
Yeah, I talked to one of the janitorial staff in Fantasyland, and she had this little card in her pocket that had the show times for the day and like a map with the nearest bathroom or something. So they definitely are trained at least to kind of help you with the basics, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I would think being a Jungle Cruise skipper, I think, would be both fun and both miserable at the same time. Because I don't know how long their shifts are. Like, I don't know if they put in 8-hour shifts or if they're shorter shifts and then they get a break in between. But having to say that over and over and over again every 12 minutes or whatever it is, I think either you're going to go bat crap crazy, and I know they do let them ad-lib a little bit, and kind of, I think there's a few rotating jokes they can do with the script, but man, I mean, I laugh every time, and I know all the jokes because it's so damn corny, but I love it, and I like that campy Disney humor. It's part of the reason why I keep going back. And I'm the dope on the boat that laughs at all the stuff, and I just don't understand how you have a boat full of people and like nobody laughs. Like, okay, yes, they're bad on purpose. Like, the jokes are bad on purpose. It's written that way. Give these poor people a break. I guess it can go either direction with that.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. Because on the surface, it seems, it's kind of funny because you can be goofy, but I mean, that would get old really fast.
Yeah, it would get old really, really fast. That's what I would think about. Yeah, like I said before, like most of the load and unload stuff on the attractions is, there's not much to it. It's just you're in your costume and you're just doing, your mundane task of getting people on and off. I think it's more maybe the show people that have a little more fun. I mean, even the food service people, you're working, but for the most part, they're friendly. If it's backed up, most people ask where you're from, where you're visiting from, while they're waiting to either hand you your tray of food at the quick service places and stuff like that. If people are from my home state and I see a city that's close to me or a city I know, I'm like, hey, I'm from so-and-so, I'm from here, what school did you go to and stuff like that. So I don't mind. I'll strike up a conversation with anybody, especially down there. So I guess that could be fun for some of those, for the college kids to to be interacted with people and not just, especially in those kind of roles, food service and stuff like that, and the clerks at the stores. But I don't know. I don't know that I would. Being a character has got to be fun.
Well, it's good and bad, because I've heard from I had a friend that was in the college program, and she wasn't a princess, but her roommate was. Okay. And she said a lot of the dads are super creepy with the princesses, and they think it's really funny.
Oh, I can imagine.
And you can't say anything. So she said, when you see these little kids just freak out when they see you, it's the best thing ever. But then if there's one creepy guy, it can affect your whole day,
Yeah. I never thought.
But I agree, because that was my first thought was, oh my God, I want to be a princess. Like, are you kidding me? That'd be so cool. But I guess every role has good and bad, though.
I don't know that I could be a face character. Not that there's many male face characters, besides the princes, but there's no way in hell I'd ever be a prince.
They're rarely in Disneyland, the princes. They're hard to find.
They're not in Disney World except for in the parade. They're never out for meet and greets unless there's part of a character dining experience. Yeah, they're not. You never see them either.
It's pretty much Gaston and Aladdin and Peter Pan.
Yeah, same here.
But other than that, I can't really think. And the Mad Hatter once in a while, and Bert and Mary Poppins are on Main Street, but like Prince Philip or Prince Charming, they're never out ever.
Nope, only in the parades. Yeah, I think being like a costume character would be a lot of fun, because number one, you don't have to talk to anybody, and you can. I mean, I don't know. They have to make fun of people behind it. I mean, they have to.
My thought was, do you think they instinctively smile when someone takes a picture, even though they can't see your face, just out of habit?
I think they either instinctively smile or they're like sticking their tongue out or making stupid faces in there. Because because along with that too, there's some guests that are annoying. I mean, we've all been in line behind the annoying family and the annoying children who just have no boundaries. So they have to be, to get through the day without either having a flask in there or wanting to punch somebody. They must be mother effing them or making fun of them, or they have to. I know I would.
Yeah, I would.
I'd have to do it. I mean, I can't lie. I mean, I'd be making fun of people, their outfit, what they're wearing, haircuts, yeah. The grown men, the creeper guys. Yeah, I mean, they'd have to do it all. Yeah, I'd love to hear the stories, when they go back for their breaks, the princesses go back and they're like, watch out for this one in this line and, this stuff like that. I'm sure it happens more than it should with people, but.
Well, and when you meet the princesses in Disneyland, there's this area called the Fantasy Fair, and it's kind of nice because you wait in one line and then you meet like 4 or 5 princesses in one shot. You go down a line, like a receiving line almost.
Oh, nice.
And sometimes, yeah, it's kind of funny. And sometimes the princess will escort the little kid to the next princess.
Oh, cool.
So I wonder if they have some kind of code word or signal, like heads up, this person's a pain,
Yeah, or look out for the dad.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
I'm sure there is.
Okay, I have some negative ones, but Milford, did we miss any positive ones before I start getting into the negative?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to go down and be the engineer on the Walt Disney World Railroad.
I was gonna say Milford wants to conduct a train.
That's my retirement job. Don't anybody take it.
You can have it, my friend.
I'm heading down after I retire, and that's what I'm going to do. No, there's guys on there that are 75 years old.
That's so cool. Is there a pretty difficult kind of application process for that? Do you know?
I have no idea. All I know is they want people with a railroad background. So, I mean, I at least have some experience because the Transportation Museum I work with here. So, I've got some experience with locomotives and things like that that are a lot larger than the ones they have there. So
nice.
And then I always thought it'd be cool to be one of those guys. I think you mentioned it about the band in Disneyland, the band in Disney World, because those guys just look like they're having a ball all the time.
Oh, they have a ton of fun.
You know,
The Main Street
they show up.
Philharmonic, yeah.
They show up and they'll just play in the middle of the street here and there, or they'll come up and they play for the flag retreat every night at 5:00, where they usually give a veteran the flag that they take down. I think that would be a cool thing, and they're always in the parades.
Yes, usually, yeah. Yeah, sometimes they lead them off and stuff. Yeah, no, those guys are a lot of fun.
And then, you know, the other job I really wouldn't mind is a Disney Vacation Club ASA. my buddy Kyle's going to get a kick out of this because I mentioned it. He's an ASA with Disney Vacation Club, because those guys get to meet so many people that come into the park. And again, they're one of those guys that know so much about Disney because they talk to everybody in the park, you know.
And they're
trying to sell it.
Literally sell it to you, yeah.
And they've got people coming up asking them, hey, where's the bathroom? Hey, where's the nearest stand for Coke? Or where's the nearest place to get a hamburger? You know, all those things. And you know, they have to know where all those things are. And they're in a different park every day. Or a different resort every day.
Is that the guy I met with you in the studios?
Yeah, Kyle Lorth.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. So, hopefully I'm not getting him in trouble by mentioning his name.
Nobody from Disney's listening to this, don't worry.
You know, those guys are probably one level right over the top of the janitors in the amount of knowledge that they need to have, because
wow.
I mean, the janitors always, you can stop and ask a janitor where something's at, and they will tell you.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, they're behind the scenes all the time doing stuff. You know, I know the utilidors are nothing to, you know, great. You know, once you've been down there once, you know, like when you go down there for the tour, like, wow, these are really cool. But other than that, it's pretty much just, you know, the inner workings of this of a city, more or less. So it's not like it's not like this grand decorated, you know, cool place. It's, you know,
exactly.
So, but yeah, I didn't even think of that. Like the DVC guys, that would be cool. You know, maybe like I don't know. I mean, the front desk clerks are kind of on the way out with all this online check-in. You know, they don't really have to. Not that they don't do a lot, but they're not as much of a necessity as they used to be anymore, which sucks. I like going. Even with the online check-in, I still enjoy going to the front desk and checking in and giving my credit card there and getting the map and having them show me where the room is, even if it's at a resort that I have been to a million times and I know exactly where I'm going. I don't know. I like to take that stuff home as a keepsake anyway, and and I like to say hi to the people and have a conversation with them. So even if I do the online check-in, I always go to the front desk and just to make sure everything's okay, the PIN code works, and anything, like I said, and to get the map and the resort swag, which is pretty much not much anymore. I mean, they used to give you like a nice packet of everything under the sun, but they don't do that anymore. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Or even like staying on with the resorts, the people who do the people who do like the activities and stuff in the resorts for like with the kids and with the families, like roasting marshmallows on all the fire pits that a lot of the resorts have here. And I know in Animal Kingdom in Animal Kingdom Lodge they do the bead collections, where every day if you go they have different beads that represent different animals, and you make kind of like a piece of jewelry with it, either a necklace or a bracelet or a long keychain type thing. You know, those activities are pretty cool. Or even at Epcot, they have all the KidCot stations where there's a representative from each country sitting there, and they can write the children's names, or even your names too. I mean, it's geared toward kids, but they're not going to turn down adults. They'll write your name in whatever language that, in the country that you're in, they have. I don't even know what's there now to color. It used to be Duffy, and then it was Perry for a little while they were having that Phineas and Ferb thing. And then it went back to Duffy, but now that Duffy's not in the park anymore, I honestly don't know what the little character on a stick is anymore. It might still be Duffy just because they have a million of those things. And so it's just a little fun thing. You get to answer questions about where you live and just interact with people. I think the people interaction thing would be my favorite thing to do, like Milford had said, just because you get to share your knowledge with people and just, you know, help people out to have a greater experience. Changing my answer. That's my answer now.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. You know, as fun as it would be to pilot a monorail, I think that would get fairly boring after a while as well.
Yeah.
Especially since you can't have anybody in there to chat with every once in a while.
Oh, really?
Even though no, ever since that accident where the pilot was killed in 2000.
Well, that's going to change pretty soon because they're not even going to have guys in the pilot seats here pretty soon.
Yeah, I know they've been testing a pilotless system, but I don't know. That's going to suck because a buddy of mine just made pilot last year, so.
Oh.
Who knows?
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah. Well, I've heard that they've been doing that, but I don't know how far along. I mean, with those trains, I wouldn't do it. I would, wait till they got new ones, but who knows? But I think that would get kind of. I mean, you're literally just going around in circles. Maybe the Epcot line because it's a little different, and I'd get to see Epcot all the time. So that one I would be happy with. But like the Resort Loop or the Express Loop, it's just you're just going in circles. You know, I think they rotate out fairly frequently, the pilots, but I'm not sure. You know, I don't know. Even to work on the platform would probably be cool, at least because people ask questions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing I can think of that's probably a lot of fun would to be a bartender, probably at one of the more popular bars, like Trader Sam's, for example, just because they have a lot of fun. But even some of the lounges around the resorts, it's a fairly popular thing to do. People like to go and hang out in some of the lounges in some of the resorts and stuff for signature drinks and snacks and things like that. So I think it'd be fun. It's always fun to people watch anyway, when you throw alcohol in the mix, and it's a whole other level of people watching.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. You guys got anything else?
Yeah, I've got some really bad ones that I think would be terrible.
Okay.
So the first one I thought of was the Radiator Springs Racers cast member, kind of for what you were talking about before of it's just loading and offloading people, but that's also a line that's super, super hot, and I've seen it every time. I always do single rider because it's faster than Fast Pass and it's easier than Fast Pass for that ride, but every single time I go on it, there are people that get in the single rider line and then have a fit when their party has to get split up.
Oh.
So they start arguing with the people at the front. When I was there this weekend, someone was arguing. Their kid was clearly under the 40-inch line, and she was saying, but they let him on earlier. And it just seems like people get really irritated after waiting in that long line, and they're just really rude. So I think any huge attraction that's just chaotic. I'm sure what's the one in Pandora? Something Passage?
Oh, Flight of Passage.
I bet they're kind of dealing with the same stuff, right? Just really grumpy people that have waited in a long line. And
probably. I don't believe they have a single. Oh, they must have a single rider line, but yeah. Not to go off topic, but it just blows my mind. I mean, I don't understand what people think single rider line means.
I know.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they have signs that explain it, that your party will not be together. You can,
everywhere. They tell you.
You can enter the line together, but you're not getting on the attraction at the same time. Once in a while, you may get lucky, but if you're showing up with 6 people, all 6 of you aren't getting on. Maybe 2 of you may get lucky and be in the same vehicle, but 9 times out of 10, or more than that, it's not happening. It's definitely not happening. Yeah, I could see where that. Yeah, as far as for a miserable one, I would say the Grand Prix Raceway here, because same thing. None of it's undercover as far as for where the cast members are standing, and it's hot because you're standing over asphalt, and you got the fumes from all the cars, and same thing. People that are clueless or trying to get their 2 kids into the car, and then who can't reach the pedal, and this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, that's probably pretty crappy to be on all day.
Yeah. And I don't remember if Disney World has this, but the other attraction that I think would be really hard is we have the Davy Crockett Explorer canoes, which are real canoes, and they seat like 20 people, and you
Yeah.
canoe around the Tom Sawyer Island,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot of work. Obviously, it's really hard because basically the cast members are pedaling the whole thing because people barely participate. But it's really hot, and everyone in the boat was complaining that they were tired and it was so hard. I'm thinking, what did you think you were doing? You're getting into a canoe. So one of the people, the boat before us, when they were offloading, one of the cast members said, don't come back. And he was laughing, but I really don't think he was joking because he looked so done. Does Disney World have canoes?
We used to. It's been... they were gone.
They were gone before I started going.
Yeah, they were gone in maybe the early 90s, if not sooner. Yeah, they did have those. They were called the same thing, and you got them from Tom Sawyer Island, and they went around Tom Sawyer Island. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Trying to think. Oh, and another one that I think would be tough is parade or show traffic control. The people that stand there with the lights.
They get no respect.
No,
they get
people
no respect.
People blow past them, ignore what they're saying. That would be terrible.
Yeah. That's got to be hard to bite your tongue on that.
I know. And people are just so pushy around parades,
rude.
too.
I know.
So aggressive that I feel like the energy just be really hard.
I agree. I didn't think about that. That's probably pretty awful.
And I never would have thought of this one, but on my way out of the park yesterday, the balloon vendor was standing there, and a girl was doing that picture where they're holding all the balloons and she's trying to pose.
Oh, yeah.
That person just looked so over it. They were doing a transaction with somebody else while she's taking the picture. That must be so annoying to have 100 times a day someone wants to just hold all of your balloons.
Can I hold all the balloons?
It's a hard enough job.
I know. Having to wrangle those things all day long.
Yeah, so I think those kind of jobs where you're just trying to do something basic to make everybody's experience better, and people just kind of walk all over you would just be awful.
Yeah, you're right. Yep. Another fun one, transportation-wise, I think would be at least Walt Disney World. I don't think Disneyland has any waterways, but would be to either some of the smaller boats that get you from the resorts to the Magic Kingdom, or to Epcot as well. Like there's one that goes from the Polynesian and the Wilderness Lodge and probably the Grand Floridian as well. And they're not like the huge ferry boat, but they're I don't know what class of boat they are, but that would be kind of fun. I mean, it is back and forth, but you're on the water, which I like, and you're in the sun, so it's warm, but you get the cool breeze and the spray of the water depending on the boat that it is. And the giant ferry boat would probably be fun too, but I don't know how the hell those guys park those things and land them in there without totally destroying the dock. But I can't, like anything else, I guess you're trained. Being a bus driver used to be fun when everything wasn't automated as far as what they talked about, and if you got a good bus driver, and people would go both ways on it. Some people didn't want to hear anything, they just wanted to get on the bus and be driven, especially at the end of the day. They don't want to hear facts and stuff about the parks. I always loved it. I loved it as a kid, and every once in a while now, if you get an elder bus driver who's been with the company for a long time, sometimes they'll still, give you some facts or rattle off some trivia questions and stuff like that. I love that stuff. I know a lot of people don't, because they just want to get on the bus and get where they're going, and they don't want to talk to anybody, but that's kind of not really what the experience is supposed to be. You know what I mean? I don't know. You want that, go to Six Flags if you don't want any interaction. I can't think of any other ones. How about you guys? Anything else? Anybody? Any other position?
It might be, I don't know, but it might be fun to be the captain of the Mark Twain riverboat.
Oh, yeah.
It could be kind of like the monorail, though, where it gets really boring really fast, but it's at least, a nice view, and they let one party per ride go up and ride with the captain.
Oh, nice.
So it might be kind of fun to talk to different people, and
yeah,
just be kind of nice, I think.
Change of pace.
Mm-hmm.
You think about it, there's a ton of different cast members and a lot of stuff going on in Disney World, but as far as like just general job-wise, there's not really that much differentiation, I'm making up words, between, ride operators are ride operators. Doesn't matter what the ride is. Like the people that are unloading you on and loading you on Peter Pan are basically doing the same thing on Dumbo or a roller coaster or Carousel of Progress or any of those. They're doing the same thing, it's just in a different costume, in a different attraction. It seems like the show people are the ones that have the greatest variables, I guess, depending on the crowd that they have and which part of the park they're performing in. If I had to, think about it, the street performers, the bands, and all that. All right. I think before we wrap up, I if you were following along, our dear Duchess was at Disneyland this weekend. So how was it? Do anything you hadn't done in a while, or notice anything
Yes.
different?
Yes. I went because this is the first weekend of the Food and Wine Festival in California Adventure. And I got really lucky because it rained on and off Saturday, which terrifies Californians. So it got nice and empty in the park, which was great for me. The Food and Wine Festival was fun. They had just a lot of different food carts, and they turned part of Paradise Park into a beer garden with the long tables and everything. And
Cool.
they had some really good stuff. Like I had a garlic mac and cheese, and my friend had this brie toast with almonds, and like they had a lot of cool little things. It was the only thing I'd say in terms of a criticism of it, though, was they were tiny food carts, and they clearly couldn't handle the crowds because the lines were just crazy. So they need more carts or larger carts to service more people. But it is kind of cool because it definitely draws a lot of attention into California Adventure, and there's just this extra energy that you can kind of feel. And they have live cooking demonstrations, and there was just a lot of different stuff to check out.
Cool.
And I liked having the option to try new food because, there are a lot of restaurants in California Adventure, but it's kind of the same thing every time. So it's fun to try the new and exciting stuff. And I got to see Black Panther. Black Panther's in Hollywoodland now. Not the movie, I mean the actual, the king. He comes in and he rides down the street in an armored car with his soldiers, and then they do this cool thing where he kind of like stares at the crowd and they drive around, and then he gets out and he goes into his meet and greet area, and then you can line up to meet him. But it was kind of cool to see him go through because lately it's just been Captain America doing meet and greets. So
Okay.
I liked seeing a new superhero kind of roaming around.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was pretty exciting. I don't think Marvel characters can be in Disney World, right? Isn't that what you were telling me? So he can't do meet and greets with you guys?
Yeah, I think Guardians of the Galaxy would be the only ones that they could have, which I guess they do have now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Star-Lord and
How are the Star-Lords in Disney World? Because the ones in Disneyland are terrible.
I've only seen pictures, and he looks terrible.
They look terrible.
It's like the worst hair in the world, and it seems like they got like, I don't know, from what I hear and what I've seen people have posted, it's like it's not even like the same personality of like Star-Lord from the movies. Like, I don't get it.
No.
I don't know. But the hair is just awful on all of them. It's like it looks like Kristoff hair. It's like just terrible. It's like a mop. Yeah, so I don't understand that end of it. But I personally have not gone to any of the meet and greets. I honestly don't even know where they are in Walt Disney World. I mean, I would assume soon it's going to be Epcot once that attraction opens up, but I don't honestly know where they meet.
Oh, and the other thing I saw in Disneyland that I forgot was a thing is on Saturday nights in the Fantasy Fair, they have swing dancing. They have a band play and they make a huge dance floor.
Oh, cool.
And it was really cool. So if anybody is going to Disneyland and you'll be there on a Saturday night, go to the Fantasy Fair because it looked like so much fun.
I'd be down for that. I remember the Fantasy Fair. I remember the Fantasy Fair in the Magic Kingdom when it was there, and they used to put on a little character show called the Fantasy Follies, and it was kind of like a Broadway style, not Broadway, like a sing and dance type show with the characters and performers, and it must have been my favorite thing in the world growing up because 70% of the pictures that my parents have from trips when me and my brother were a kid are of that show.
That's cool.
So it must have been something we saw, and it was outdoors. the little tables and chairs, and I'm trying to think of where it was in present compared to present day. It's definitely,
that's what I was going to ask you. Where is it?
It's gone, but it's definitely where all the new stuff is. Like, I'm trying to think, like, as you come around the corner, it had to be just after, like, where Pinocchio Village House is now. So after you go past that, that's when you go into the new section and you head up to where, like, Enchanted Tales with Belle is, and then there's Gaston's Tavern and Prince Eric's Castle. I think it was, that wasn't pushed that far back yet. I think it was, like, in that main area. Might be where the stroller parking is now. I don't know. I'd have to look at an old map of Magic Kingdom, but it was over there near where the carousel is somewhere. Because then I forget, like, Dumbo was over there too. I forget they moved that whole thing to where it is in Storybook Circus. So I can't. It hasn't even been that long, and I can't for the life of me picture, like, where all that stuff was originally.
So where was the Magic Kingdom's Toontown? Because I went once as a little kid, and I have a vague memory of being in Minnie's house. Yep. But that's definitely not there, right?
It's where the train station that lets you off in Storybook Circus now, where, like, the Dumbo spinner is and the Casey Jr. little play area train. It was right there.
Okay.
So when you went past the teacups and if you bear to the right, you can head towards into Tomorrowland. If you bared to the left, there was, like, a little walkway, and it was set back a little bit. And then the Barnstormer is in the exact same place. So right near the Barnstormer was Donald's Boat, a little playground area for kids. On the left side of the street you had Pete's Garage, which was basically the store, and they had, like, gas pumps outside. Then you had Mickey's house and Minnie's house, and that's where you went to meet Minnie and Mickey. They weren't over on Main Street where they are now. And then you could walk through their houses, and it was interactive. And then the little train station, which is, I think they might have moved it a little bit or built it up, but that's where it was. That's where Mickey's Toontown, Birthdayland, Starland, many names. That's where, and it was very, very small. That's all there was there.
Cool.
Good. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah, it was short, but it was really fun. And that's the good thing about Disneyland is you can, if you've been there before, you can get through it in 2 days.
Right. Yeah. Hit the
if you know what to look for. Yeah.
Right. Hit the stuff you want to hit and everything else. Now is most of the construction done on Main Street, or the wall, like, is the trolley track done and stuff? Have some of the walls come down?
Yeah, the walls came down at the hub, so that looks way better. And it came down in Town Square, but it's still down the middle.
Oh, it is still down the middle. Okay.
But they said next month it'll be done. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of some of it that's done. It looks pretty amazing.
Yeah, the brickwork looks awesome. It's really nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then in California, and in Fantasyland, they're redesigning Dumbo. The ride Dumbo is not changing, but they're redesigning the waiting area because it kind of jutted out into the walkway, and it was not shaded, so it was brutally hot during the summer. So they're kind of redesigning it to have more space and to have coverage and that kind of stuff. So there's a big wall around the back of Fantasyland right now. So that's kind of ugly. But other than that, there's not really any major construction that's impacting much of Disneyland. Splash Mountain is closed for refurb. It always closes this time of year, but there are rumors this time that they're going to extend it to double seating instead of single seating. But nobody, just because it's so long and they're replacing the track.
Oh, they are.
People are wondering if that's why, but nobody knows.
I gotta imagine they'd have to widen the whole thing out. I mean, I don't know how big the cars are that are there now. I know they're single file, but
they're tiny. I mean, they're really narrow.
So that's kind of big. If they're gonna get something in there for two people to sit side by side, they gotta widen out the whole channel.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, I'm really skeptical, and I feel like that's impossible for them to do because there's so many twists and turns that are really narrow. But that's just, that's what I'm hearing in the rumor mill.
Right.
So
yeah.
Do with that what you will.
Exactly. Speculate away.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Yeah.
I think with that, we're going to wrap this episode up. And we hope you enjoyed it, and we thank you for listening. And we'll talk to everybody next week. follow our troupe at www.dizexplorers.com, where you can find all the links for all our hosts' social media accounts. You can also follow the podcast on our Facebook group at The Diz Explorers and on Twitter and Instagram at The Diz Explorers. You can download this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher Radio, and also on YouTube. Thanks for listening.
Hope you had a good time. So long from Jiminy Cricket and Spectro Magic.